The NFL is officially back to business this week. Indianapolis, the 2024 NFL Combine. Going to highlight some running backs that I think will fit for the Cleveland Browns. Your latest Locked On Browns starts now.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. A bonus episode here covering the running backs headed to Indianapolis for the 2024 Combine. I am your host, Jeff Lloyd, and I appreciate all of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day. The everyday crowd keeps getting bigger and bigger. Don't miss out. Join the party. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available, always free, wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. As I said, 2024 NFL Combine begins this week. Basically, the official kickoff to the beginning of every NFL season. Indianapolis, Indiana, of course. Good moment last year there for the Cleveland Browns. Now, the running back class will be working out on Saturday. The way it's going to work, obviously, is going to be on Thursday, linebackers, defensive linemen. On Friday, you will have the tight ends and the defensive backs. On Saturday, you will have the quarterbacks, the running backs, the wide receivers, specialties, everybody else on Sunday to close it out, all live on the NFL Network. One of my favorite weeks of the year, because you guys, if anybody's been here for me in the past, you guys know how we do it here. We want players with good tape. We want players with good production. We want players who, have the size that is required, arm length, all of these things. And of course, we want them to be able to check the athletic boxes as well, as far as speed, jumping ability. Of course, bench press is a huge one. Just gets to know people's general power. This running back class, and I think people are starting to warm up to the 2024 running back class as we're getting deeper into the process here. I think one of the things that may hurt it is there is probably no first round pick here, and there may not be a running back that goes off the board till the beginning of the second round. But I think, as we get closer and closer, people are starting to enjoy it and maybe respect the talent that is in this class. There is no Saquon Barkley. There is no Bijan Robinson, and that's understandable. So those players, as far as draft prospects, were kind of considered generational. Maybe things would be different if some players, weren't injured. But you have a lot that goes into this process here. Browns wise, in their, interest in this position, for me, I know people, seem to want to live in this world where they just think because, we consider Nick Chubb a superhero, and I think we all do, and it's pretty fair. Nick is a rare animal, but I don't know where Nick is going to be able to fit in with this team in 2024. And it's not that I don't think he's capable and all of these things. It's just medically, we have no idea. And they're talking about maybe in August, of him just starting to maybe get going. I really believe Nick Chubb is probably going to begin the 2024 season on the PUP list. Even when Nick Chubb does become available, I'm not saying, that you're going to get what you think. He's not going to be the 20 carry guy we've gotten used to, the 22, 23 in a close game to close it out. I think Nick Chubb is going to come back on a pitch count. He is recovering from 2 separate surgeries within his knee. That is a real lot to deal with. So the Browns' interest in this 2024 running back class should be deep, should be real. Jerome Ford did some nice things last year, but I think there were times where when we all thought Jerome Ford was taking the corner, then there was a game, set a couple of runs. Look, I think it was 20-something carries for 0 or negative yards. That is not a great number. His receiving ability, certainly something that can be continued to be utilized by this franchise. But, he wasn't, basically anointed. Obviously, the situation was where Jerome Ford was the starter and they had no choice. And I do think for what he did, he showed pretty well. I don't think the Browns will be bringing back Kareem Hunt as much as he did last year. That was impressive, but it was just more a physical toll on Kareem Hunt's body. Just basically beat himself up, beat himself into the ground, took a lot of big hits. He runs with that wild, reckless style, and none of that is, there's nothing wrong with any of that, but it's not, indicative of the fact that, Kareem's going to be in demand. He wasn't in demand last offseason. It's kind of hard to believe that Kareem's going to be in demand this offseason. Pierre Strong was a player I liked last year. There were some flashes. There were some things that certainly caused you some pause and hesitation. I'm not saying I'm done on him, but I'm also not saying he's guaranteed touches in this Cleveland Browns running back room in 2024, I believe. And, the Browns, I do think, will be looking. The price could be interesting for them, but I think they will be looking at the veteran running back market. The question is whether or not they're going to be willing to meet a salary that is out there for someone in this free agent running back market, which makes you feel that the draft has some appeal for them. Look, it's always been an important position for them. Last year, losing the quarterback and the running back, and then still picking up the pieces and making your way to the playoffs was, tremendous. But the Browns value the running back position. They value getting a lot of production out of the running back position. They know, hopefully, with a healthy offensive line and with a solid running game, it should only, increase the chances of overall top performance for Deshaun Watson. The passing game certainly got going last year. They're hoping that will continue to be the case when Deshaun Watson comes back to be the starter for this franchise. But this team and this Kevin Stefanski offense has always been something that was very prideful about how good their running game was, how successful it was. And then it was with the Deshaun Watson acquisition, hoping to be able to, resonate the entire package together on the offensive side of the ball. Your quarterback played 6 games in the 2022 season. He played 6 games in the 2024 season. The Browns, as much as, they need to get the running back position figured out, they certainly need to get Deshaun Watson on the right path for ultimate success. It was a big move at the time when they made it. They invested a lot into it. And to this point, it's certainly not been the desired return. I think everybody can agree on that. But, again, I am one person that, thinks Deshaun Watson was playing a lot better in 2023 than anybody wants to give him credit for. You've heard that episode, and obviously there was a lot of chatter and a lot of fun responses to that on social media over the weekend. Whatever. I just ain't got the time, for anybody who saw it. If I acted like an ass, I apologize, because I did. So for the running back class, and we're going to start to switch it up here, I have names that I am interested in for this franchise that I cannot wait to see work out this weekend. It is a good group. It's a little bit of a diverse group as far as their abilities, but the Cleveland Browns can 100% improve their running back room in 2024 and find a capable running mate as they ease Nick Chubb back into the mix whenever that may be. Jeff Lloyd, your latest Locked On Browns. I appreciate you all for sticking around. Don't go away. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. What is the first thing you would do if you had an extra hour in your day? Look, I do a lot of taking care of people, looking after my wife, looking after my mom, looking after my daughters. For me, it would probably just find a way to give myself an hour to just relax, reload, and refocus. A lot of us spend our lives wishing we had more time. The question is, time for what? If time was unlimited, how would you use it? The best way to squeeze the special thing into your schedule is to know what's important to you and make it a priority. Therapy can help you find what matters to you so you can do more of it. For me, it's just a question of checks and balances and making sure I've got everything taken care of I need to, and always making sure that I am taking care of myself. If you were thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's done entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/locked-on. Continue on here, your latest Locked On Browns, your host, Jeff Lloyd. We're talking some NFL Combine running backs here for 2024. These young men will take the field on Saturday for their workouts. Obviously, other testing done while in Indianapolis. Exclusive medical physicals, deep depth in detail, psychological, all of that stuff that goes on. It is a grinding process for these guys, but it puts them hopefully in a position where that these guys can hopefully put themselves and be set for the rest of their lives. Now, talking about guys that I think will truly fit this team, fit this running back room. I've been talking about a player like Trey Benson from Florida State, and I apologize. I had an inaccurate birth date on Trey Benson. Trey Benson is about to turn 22, which means his rookie season will be at the age of 22. Played really well for Florida State. I think he's a running back that probably has better footwork, has better cutting ability and athletic ability than he maybe has true burner speed. But you turn on the tape, there are plenty of long runs from Trey Benson doing his thing down in Tallahassee for the Seminoles. My two darlings, absolute darlings for this Cleveland Browns team, and they match almost every box the Browns would like. Braylon Allen, obviously out of Wisconsin. Braylon Allen will not turn 21 until January of 2025. That is something that is huge with the Cleveland Browns. Go back, look at their past history. They value age. They value it big time. Allen, with that 6'2", plays anywhere between 235 and 240. He gets those first couple of steps going. You're getting a lot of guys trying to arm tackle a big man, and they just look silly. He can kind of be the Thunder. Maybe Nick Chubb, when he works his way back, can kind of be the Lightning. Braylon Allen would be a great fit for the Cleveland Browns. Audric Estime out of Notre Dame. Same type of physical profile as Braylon Allen. 6'1", plays anywhere between 225 and 230. Downhill runner. People fall off of him. He is more athletic than people think. There is a game against Clemson. Hurdles a defender in the box. Hurdles a safety 13 yards down the field. Don't let the big man fool you. He is light and quick on his feet, and his pass pro skills, he's a dog. He is a junkyard dog. He gets in, he gets dirty, and another player that will not turn 21 until September of 2024 will play his entire rookie season at 21 years old. Jalen Wright out of Tennessee. Jalen Wright has got scoots. He's got long ability. Became the featured running back at Tennessee for his sophomore and his junior year. He is another guy that's just about to turn 21. He's definitely electric with the ball in his hands, still working on refining all aspects of his game, but Jalen Wright out of Tennessee is another player. Dylan Johnson played this past fall for the University of Washington, was mired and lost down at Mississippi State. Just was no way for them to find a way to get him regular touches. He was big time for the Huskies this year, and one of the biggest reasons, and one of the bigger reasons, I should say, that they went on to play for the national championship. Can catch the ball out of the backfield. Big physical runner. The thing that kind of impressed me is down the stretch in the biggest games, Dylan Johnson was dealing with a nagging ankle injury, and he would go out, play 4-5 plays. You would see him play hurt. You would see it hurt. You would see him do everything he could for his team. They'd take him out. One play, he'd catch his breath, and he went right out there for his teammates. A guy like Dylan Johnson is a guy that can play for my team any single day. You put your team over yourself. That is something that I'll always value. Dylan Johnson put together a great year for himself at UW, and it's going to parlay himself to being anywhere. I would say, if not a top 100 pick, he will probably go in the top 110. Two Georgia Bulldog running backs that I like, and they kind of worked in tandem down at Georgia. Kendall Milton was kind of the feature guy. And if you put Kendall Milton's stats together over his 4 years down at Georgia, it basically gives you like what one season would be. It's around 300 carries. It's around 1,800 yards, lots of touchdowns, I believe his career, yards per carry was almost 6. So Kendall Milton is a good player. Obviously played with a ton of NFL talent down at the University of Georgia. Played there during 2 of the biggest seasons in all of college football history with Georgia going back to back. Interesting player. Not a lot from the receiving standpoint. So certainly something we're going to see how he does the receiving part of the drills at the combine. But Kendall Milton, a guy I like. You want to talk about a guy that just maybe fills out a running back room. And that's what I think the type of player that DeJuan Edwards is out of Georgia as well. 5'10", just a little bit north of 200, 20 receptions last year. He wasn't a full-time back. He kind of played the receiving role back next to Kendall Milton. But he's a really good player. Legs are really fresh. These guys spent a lot of time at the University of Georgia. But with all that talent on that roster, these guys were overused. As these guys got older, their production and their attempts picked up. Either one of these guys, Kendall Milton or DeJuan Edwards, could be nice additions to the to the Cleveland Browns running back room. Trying to figure out where Nick Chubb will fit into it. It's going to be interesting, but those are 2 guys that certainly can help carry the load. Last one I'm going to bring up, and he seems like a forgotten guy. Obviously, Mayan Williams out of Ohio State. Season ended early. I always admired his game. I think he just ran with a physical toughness. I think actually running the football, he kind of gave me a Kareem Hunt vibe, like Kareem in his, like prime, like he would never, ever not put his, like if he could physically get you the extra yard, like Kareem Hunt did many times. I think Mayan Williams is that type of guy. Maybe sometimes with those guys, it comes to their own detriment, but Mayan Williams, in my opinion, really had a nice career at Ohio State. He's probably going to end up going day 3. He's going to need to show people that he's healthy. And unfortunately he's going to get drafted lower than I feel he probably is going to deserve. But injuries are always tricky with the NFL, the draft process, and certainly the combine. So obviously him going checked, dealing with the physicals will be a big box to check for Mayan Williams. It's going to be interesting. It's a pretty damn good running back class, in my opinion. There are a lot of guys that will fit the Cleveland Browns. And I know a lot of us don't agree. The Browns and the running back room, it is a bigger question mark this offseason than most are giving it, the lip service that it deserves. It is a big question. We have no idea when Nick Chubb is going to be ready to return to this team. So the Cleveland Browns are going to have to get some more bodies in there. Jerome Ford's fine. Don't know about Pierre Strong. Don't know when Chubb's coming back. You need some bodies in the running back room. I am your host, Jeff Lloyd. Season 7 going into season 8 here of your Cleveland Browns coverage here on Locked On Browns. I appreciate you all who come out every day and make Locked On Browns your first listen. The everyday crowd keeps getting bigger and bigger, so don't miss out. Join the crowd. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. Show is always available, always free, wherever you get your podcasts. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound LGB on ELOB. Let's go Browns.